Hi, it's Aaron here from the Golf Academy at Staverton Park. We're looking at club member Charles Smedley in his second lesson in a series of 4. Today we looked at driving and some fairway wood play, but I thought what I'd share with you guys is some results we got from the driver, which was quite interesting. So on the left hand side of the screen we've got Charles set up in his normal position as he told me he was playing when he went out, and then on the right hand side we've made a little adjustment which we'll talk you through why we did that in a second. So Charles's observations around his driving is that he can hit the ball quite far. His playing partners tell him that he's sneaky long, so basically that means he gets quite a bit of run on his tee shots. On average he was carrying the ball around sort of 190 to 195 sort of yards most times, and then he was getting about 30 yards of roll. So Charles's very best shots would go about 230 with the driver. For those of you that are interested in knowing what your optimum distance you should hit the ball in the UK based with a bit of run, if you were to take your swing speed and multiply it by 2.58, this will give you a total distance. So for example with Charles, his his swing speed is 90 miles an hour, and if you multiply that by 2.58, that comes out at 232 yards. So when Charles hit it good, he was hitting his optimum distance, albeit with not as much carry as I'd like to see. His observations being the ball took off a little low, and occasionally it would tend to fade off to the right hand side. So discuss with Charles the reasons that this can happen. So his club delivery with the driver was certainly on a downward angle of attack, so he was hitting it more on the way down through impact this way, as opposed to we'd like to see you hitting with a driver to get optimal distance a little bit more this way as you hit through the ball. So I've got a video of Charles's swing on the left hand side which we took, and it's a little difficult to see because it's in full speed today, but one couple of little things to note for anybody that hits down on the ball is you'll see how he's got the ball very central in his stance, and he's actually also got quite a lot of forward lean of the club shaft. So two things that this will cause is you'll hit the ball more on the way down if you put the ball back in the stance, and if the hands are too far ahead of the ball you're going to be losing loft to impact. So what Charles was doing was hitting the ball, launching it low. He was launching the ball at between 8 and 12 degrees off the face, and because he was hitting down with a lofted driver he was then getting too much backspin, which results in him losing out on, I think, a little bit of distance. So all we talked about with Charles was actually we just really made a setup change and actually just changed his concept. So I said to him, I want you to think about swinging the driver from low to high through impact, and I want you to hit the ball on the way up, not on the way down. So automatically what you'll notice on the right hand side of the screen is he's now got more tilt through his shoulders and through his spine, whereas before he was quite level with the shoulders and the spine was quite upright. So what this will help is you hit a little bit more on the way up. The results were instantaneous. His first shot, I call that a feeler. He hit it quite a long way out to the right, but his next 5 shots he carried the ball on average between basically on average about 210 yards, so we gained him 15 yards if not 20 yards more carry, and his very best drive went 240 yards, so we actually gained some distance. But most importantly for Charles is he hit it straighter as well. So not only did he hit it longer, he hit it straighter by hitting it more on the way up rather than on the way down. The reason for this is if you hit more on the way up, then you will get less backspin, and if you get less backspin then you will get the ball to fly a little bit straighter. So just for a little bit of science behind it, before he was, like I say, he was hitting the ball between 8 and 10 degrees of launch, but his spin rate was really high and he was hitting down on the ball. and his spin rate was up around sort of 3,000 revolutions per minute, which is quite high. Optimally with the driver, what we're looking for is quite a high launch angle, between sort of 14 and 18 degrees, with spin of definitely under 2,500. And what we got with Charles is we got his launch angle to 14 to 18 degrees, which was nice, and his spin rate was 2,500, and he instantly hit the ball a lot further because of this. I think we could actually gain a few more yards if we were to fit Charles for a different driver. I still think 2,500 revolutions of spin is too much for him. If we could get that down around the 2,000 mark, I think he could hit it probably another 10 to 15 yards to start hitting it closer to 250 yards from the tee. His ball speed also increased by 5 miles an hour, purely through better club delivery, not through increasing his swing speed. So you guys watch out for Charles over the next few weeks. We're going to see how he gets on. He's quite excited about putting this on the course. He found that the ball flight was going double the height, which is nice. There's a certain holes at Staverton which he finds tricky, which he thinks if he could carry the ball further and with a little bit of draw, it will really help him out. Yeah, so that's all for today, guys. Next week we will be looking at some chipping with Charles, so watch